conduction on a myelinated fiber. What is a myelinated fiber? A myelinated nerve fiber serves as an insulator, insulates the axon. Preventer, almost all flow of ions to the membrane enclosed in myelin.
Resting potential is maintained by diffusion of sodium ions and potassium ions. Inside is positive potassium ions. They go down their concentration gradient as the cell pumps them up the gradient from a high to low concentration. The resting cell membrane is more permeable to potassium ions than sodium ions, so potassium ions can diffuse out faster than sodium ions can diffuse in. As a reminder, resting potential is negative 70 millivolts.
Threshold potentials. If the membrane's resting potential becomes more negative, the membrane is hyperpolarizing. If the resting potential becomes less negative, the membrane is depolarizing. There are many subthreshold stimuluses before reaching threshold potential at negative 55 millivolts. Once threshold potential is reached, the portion of the cell membrane being stimulated undergoes a sudden change in permeability.
Repolarizations/depolarizations. Channels that are highly selective for sodium ions open, allowing the sodium ions in. As sodium ions rush inward, the membrane potential changes from its resting negative 70 millivolts and momentarily becomes positive on the inside. This is called depolarization. At the peak of action potential, the membrane may reach 30 millivolts. At almost the same time, channels open to allow some of the potassium ions to pass through. As the potassium ions move outward, the membrane becomes negatively charged, also called repolarization. It remains this way until it's stimulated again.
Action potential. The sequence of events results in a wave of action potentials moving down the fiber. This propagation along a fiber constitutes a nerve impulse. Refractory period 10 to 30 milliseconds time during which potential is reestablished. The all or none response. If a nerve fiber responds at all, it will respond completely.
Myelinated fiber versus unmyelinated. Unmyelinated fiber conducts an impulse over its entire surface. Myelinated at the nodes of Ranvier, the nerve fiber membrane contains channels for sodium and potassium ions that open during the threshold depolarization. Current then flows through the cytoplasm of the axon. At the first node, the membrane is stimulated to its threshold potential. An action potential occurs there, sending an electric current to the next node. A nerve impulse traveling down a myelinated fiber jumps node to node. This is also known as saltatory conduction. And also, myelinated fiber happens 150 millimeters per second, it's also up to 15 times faster than an unmyelinated axon.
The end.